Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. So we have officially started the 2020 NBA playoffs. So with that being said, for today's video, we are going to be going over the final regular season grades for all 30 NBA teams. Let me know in the comment section below, guys. If you had to grade your team on a letter grading scale right now, how would you think they did? For my Detroit Pistons, yeah, you guys know. You guys know, man. But yes, before we get going on today's video, you guys don't mind dropping a like, man. 1,000 likes is always the goal. And also, if you are new to the channel, guys, hit that subscribe button. We are so close to 250,000 subscribers. Y'all don't mind helping me get there. Would be greatly, greatly appreciated, my guys out there. Okay, man, so here we go. Final regular season grades for all 30 NBA teams. The first team we have is the Atlanta Hawks with the grade of an F. Wow. Okay. That's a little surprising. Because, like, when I think of, like, a letter grade, I also, put into, my, like, expectations. And nobody expected the Hawks to make the playoffs or anything like that. I feel like just the play alone of Trae Young deserves them of a higher grade. Like, he literally was the starting point guard for the All-Star team, man. And, on top of that, the team's not, like, very old. I mean, they got John Collins. They did trade for Clint Capella, who we've yet to see yet. DeAndre Hunter, Cam Reddish, who actually looks pretty solid out there at times. It's like they're on the right path. I definitely would not give them an F. I would say probably like a C, just because, like, maybe even a C plus, because literally for me C was okay. This is what we expected. C plus, Trae Young kind of puts them in that range, man. So yeah, I think F is definitely disrespectful. Okay, next we got the Boston Celtics with a grade of a B. I mean, once again, the same case as like Trae Young, where Jason Tatum really emerged as, in my opinion, man, a superstar here in the NBA. I expect him to make an all-star league, but he's really even that much better now. Kemba Walker worked out nicely. A B's fine, I guess. I mean, maybe I guess they could have finished a little higher in the standings, but even that's like not that big a deal, all things considered, the bubble and everything like that. No, man, I mean, a B's okay. I don't really see it any other way. This team definitely does have little holes to it, especially, when it comes to, like, maybe, like, the big guy position. But overall, I think they did pretty nicely out there, guys. Maybe they could have, like, added, like, another scorer off the bench or something during, like, the trade deadline, something along those lines, I guess. But that's about all I can really think of. Next up, we got the Brooklyn Nets, and they got a C+. Okay, so obviously, Kyrie Irving didn't really play a lot. Dinwiddie looked great out there. Caris LeVert looked great out there. Kevin Durant, of course, out for the entire season. So the fact they made the playoffs without, Kyrie or Kevin Durant, for pretty much no Kyrie, is damn impressive. So good for them on that. So yeah, I guess a C+. I'm okay with that grade. Next up, we got the Charlotte Hornets with a grade of a D. Once again, we got a case where, like, the Charlotte Hornets going into the season, they just lost their all-star point guard. I mean, they signed a guy, a guy that was kind of unproven in Terry Rozier to a $50 million deal. They were able to find a diamond in the rough with Devontae Graham, who is, was one of the most improved players in the entire NBA. PJ Washington looked like it was a great draft choice. I think just based off of that, some of those moves out there, I would probably actually give them like a B-. If I'm being quite honest, man. Like the Charlotte Hornets, it could have been a lot worse. And they were able to kind of take, little pieces here and there, make it into something that, I don't really want to say is special, but definitely puts them in the right direction. Okay, next we got Chicago Bulls. They got an F grade because of that bitch ass right there, man, Jim Boylan. But guess what? They got an off-season grade already of an A++ for firing that man right there and switching out management, guys. Yes, Chicago Bulls, I think anybody will say it was a disappointing season. Just like you looked at like what was coming into the season, a lot of people thought Lauri Markkanen was going to take that next step up. Jim Boylan poorly coached that man right there, like turned him into a stretch big. Zach LaVine was exciting, at moments, obviously. Thaddeus Young proved to be not a great signing out there, didn't really do all that much. Wendell Carter had injury issues. From like an expectation standpoint, it was an F season. Like I think a lot of people thought the Bulls definitely could have made the playoffs, especially looking at like the Brooklyn Nets, who made it without essentially any of their main pieces. Or even they like the Bulls wasn't even invited to the bubble, guys. Like they had the Washington Wizards over them, right? So, but then again, that was with the healthy Bradley Beal. But all things considered, man, expectation wise, it was an F for the Chicago Bulls. I do agree with that. Next up, we got the Cleveland Cavaliers with an F grade. Damn, bro, they are really being savage about this right here. Okay, see, I can't really give it an F, though, because, in my opinion, the Darius Garland, Colin Sexton backcourt proved to work out pretty nicely. Like, I don't know if it's like a long-term thing, but, Colin Sexton obviously was a very improved player this season. Darius Garland looks like he could be something in the NBA going forward. They were able to trade for Andre Drummond for essentially nothing, so you can't really beat that. Obviously, the small forward position, something they got really improved on. The wins obviously wasn't there. But I don't know, man. I feel like this team, like, just by seeing what they had, they have some sort of direction now. It's like, okay, we obviously got to fill the hole at the small forward position. I definitely don't think it was an F season. I think it was definitely, maybe a little bit above average from what they really expected. Because once again, man, this team, I mean, they obviously weren't good, but 19-46. I probably got to give them maybe like a C-, just because, like, at least we have, I feel like this team has a direction now. Next up, we got the Dallas Mavericks with a B- grade. So, yeah, obviously they're the 8th seed against the Clippers in the first round of the playoffs. Luka, missed some games. He didn't miss, like, a billion games. He missed quite a few. Same with Kristaps Porzingis, to the point where the chemistry really never really got there. But then you got into the bubble, and both these guys, 30-point per game scores straight up, man. So you got to see a lot with that. But, even the bubble technically was part of the regular season. So just from that standpoint, I think you really look at the numbers that Luka did put up, though. I mean, literally superstar MVP caliber numbers, and the fact that it only led to an 8th seed is a little concerning. But, yeah, if they would have won a few more games, I mean, you're talking like A range, just based off of like where Luka was or is, as opposed to where we thought he was going to be at this point in his career. I don't think anybody expected this quickly. Next up, Denver Nuggets with a B+ grade. Yeah, I would probably stay closer to maybe to like a B-. I still feel like they never really got a chance to really find that third star out there. Or even make some sort of trade to get that third star, because that's essentially what this team is missing out there. I mean, Will Barton's nice, Monte Morris is cool, Gary Harris is regressing, and then eventually we actually got to the bubble, and then Bol or Michael Porter Jr. looked like they could eventually be that third piece, so that was nice. But it would have been nice to see that a little earlier on, because I feel like, when you have Michael Porter being the young player like he is, you can't really rely on him to be that third option going into the playoffs. Just because, like, he's going to have nice moments, but also he's going to have a lot of rookie moments, too. So, I would like to see them maybe solve that a little earlier in the season. Next up, we got my Detroit Pistons with a D grade. Yeah, even at best, let's say this entire team was healthy, you would have had, Derrick Rose, Luke Kennard, Tony Snell, Blake Griffin, and Andre Drummond, which eventually became Christian Wood. The team probably would have been, like, at best a 7th seed. I mean, let's be honest here, man. But, yeah, they had a ton of injuries, really disappointing season, even from, like, a player development standpoint. Like, Sekou Dimboya looked nice at times, but outside of him, Christian Wood obviously was a nice spark, but there's a lot of speculation he's going to go to a different team or want a pretty nice payday of around $15 to $20 million. So, yeah, the biggest issue with the Pistons right now is just that, like, you don't really know. Like, the best things about this team is like Derrick Rose and even like Luke Kennard, who's been having like knee injuries and stuff. Like he had the knee tendonitis or whatever it's called. So that's not great. Yeah, it was not a fun season, especially as a big fan of the team. It was not fun. Okay, next up we got the Golden State Warriors with a grade of incomplete. That's fair. that's all you can really say. If anything, the fact that I would almost give them an A+, and the reason is because literally, like, their star players missed the entire season, and they did a beautiful job of being so bad that they are going to secure, like, a top 2 pick in the draft. That's an A+, man. Like, you knew you were going to be bad because of missing those guys. Like, you did exactly what you needed to do. That was absolutely tank the whole damn season. So I give them an A+ for that. Next up, we got the Houston Rockets with a B. I would actually say a B+, A-. A lot of people were hating on the James Harden, Russell Westbrook duo. They started figuring things out. The small ball seems to be something that's going to be a big part of their future, which is something that could have just been a total disaster. But no, man, one of the most dynamic, duos really in NBA history. Guys like straight up Russell and James Harden like that. So I feel like it's working. It's working, and it's definitely a plug-and-play system where, these are your 2 main guys right here. But eventually, you can, like, tinker with some other pieces on the roster, hopefully for not that expensive of contracts out there, too. Okay, next up, we got the Pacers with a B grade. They get an A- for me, man. The Pacers were missing Oladipo, who was their best player. Even when completely healthy, you probably say Oladipo's better than Sabonis, but Sabonis was an all-star this season. This team just never stops fighting, man. I absolutely love it about them. Like, no matter what no matter what curse or bad thing they go through, they always find a way, and you got to respect that. And they did it once again. A lot of teams, they lose their best player, and you're just, like, done for that season. Sabonis stepped up. Bubble Warren's a thing. It's interesting, man. We got the Los Angeles Clippers with an A-. Honestly, I would give it more like a B. And that's nothing against the Clippers. I obviously have them win an NBA championship if you guys saw my bracket video. But the reason is just because this team, between like the load management and it's just like injuries, like I still feel like we've never really got to see like the full potential of this team. Hopefully we see that come playoff time, but well, in the playoffs that we're technically in right now. But even like Montrez is having like issues and stuff, and Lou Williams, there's a little bit of injuries and stuff out there with other guys. So it's like this team could have really been historically great if they were all completely healthy playing every single game. We didn't really see that, man, so I don't think they deserve A- for that. Los Angeles Lakers with an A. Yeah, I mean, LeBron Anthony Davis is as good as advertised. Defense is top-notch in the NBA, which, of course, it wasn't the season before. Obviously, we're seeing a lot of great, just guys that maybe we didn't really expect that much out of them, like Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee, Alex Caruso. Even KCP's having, like, his best season ever, man. Just really stepping into these roles and just filling it nicely, playing off LeBron AD. It's been nice to watch. Okay, next up, we got the Memphis Grizzlies. No, this is totally an A+. This is 1,000,000,000% A+, guys. The fact of the matter is that this team was picking second in the draft last offseason, and they were literally a Damian Lillard away, or even you could even say a Jaren Jackson Jr. away from making the damn NBA playoffs. This team came out of nowhere and shocked the whole damn world, guys. That's an A+. Based off of what we expected them to do and how long we thought the rebuild was going to take, they're right there on the map yet again, guys. Okay, next up we got the Miami Heat with a B+. Okay, that seems like a fair grade. I love what Bam's doing. Jimmy Butler is like the perfect leader for this team. I'm not even saying A- just because I do like the just what we've seen from guys like Kendrick Nunn, Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero. But obviously like guys like Tyler Hero had like injury issues and stuff like that. Maybe the Iguodala trade. It seems like Jay Crowder was the best part of that. So I'll probably say like a B+, A-. So that feels about right. Next up, Milwaukee Bucks. A. I'm gonna say A+. Before the shutdown, they were on pace for 70 wins. Not much more that can be said about that. Giannis on pace to having one of the greatest, most achieved seasons in NBA history. Next up, we got the Timberwolves, D+. Yeah, I mean, the only thing that's keeping me from like D- range is the fact that they did make a big-time move, that they were able to swing Andrew Wiggins for D'Angelo Russell. Obviously, a draft pick was involved too, but D'Lo and Cat, we'll see what happens next season. Jarrett Culver, hopefully, you get some more touches out there too, man. I don't know. It's just time, Cat. It's time. You got to step up, man. You got to get this team to the playoffs. You got to do it. You're no longer like a 22-year-old. We're like, man, that guy's gonna be special someday. You're special now. Let's get this team in the playoffs next season. Next up, we got the Pelicans with a D+. I mean, I feel like if you give the Warriors an incomplete, you got to give that same energy to the Pelicans. I mean, Zion, this team's totally different with him on the court. Obviously, after the quarantine, I mean, he was not in shape, but that was not going to be an issue, if that hiatus never really happened. Like, he was looking good before the season was put on halt, right? So, I think that's something to consider. Next up, we got the New York Knicks with an F. Well, I mean, Mitchell Robinson looked good. RJ Barrett looks to be decent out there himself. Yeah, I mean, I would say an F is fair. They did a good job of being bad, at least. They didn't extend Julius Randle to a 5-year max contract, so I guess that's a positive thing. They're in a actually not a bad position contract wise. If RJ continues to improve Mitchell Robinson, it being New York, hopefully a star player wants to go there. Hopefully, man. I want to see it happen. I really think the New York Knicks deserve it. Next up, we got the OKC Thunder with a B+. A+ for me, guys. Shai Gilgeous looks like one of the, future superstars of the NBA. Chris Paul was a guy that was viewed upon as a washed-up, injury-prone, overpaid point guard at this point in his NBA career. He was an all-star. They got so many great draft picks. Gallinari looked nice. Steven Adams. They got some decent players out there at the small forward position that, hopefully are up and coming. They not only are they in position to rebuild, but they're also in position to be an entertaining team. I mean, they're in the playoffs. That's the dream. From a management standpoint, you're selling tickets, but also you're improving the depth and the assets and everything like that, man. It's the perfect situation. Next up, we got the Orlando Magic with a C. Yeah, Aaron Gordon, towards the end, well, right before the hiatus, he was playing some pretty good basketball. Jonathan Isaac, though, man, another ACL injury. Sucks, man. It just sucks so much. Markel Fultz looks nice. Mo Bamba, put on some weight, which is good. Vucevic seemed like, I don't think he'll ever be an all-star again, to be quite honest. But, I mean, yeah, see, it was an average season. There's definitely room for improvement. 76ers, we got a C+. I would say yes, based off of expectations. Obviously, injuries to Ben Simmons suck going into this playoffs, man. Like, I really feel like it would have been that much more of a better series, against the Boston Celtics. So definitely, they already do miss them based off that Game 1 performance and stuff like that, bro. But, yeah, I mean, the roster on paper looked good going into the season. You had Al Horford, who was a defensive specialist out there. Matisse Thybulle's a great rookie and stuff, man. You got Tobias Harris, who could fill it up. Furkan Korkmaz, who was decent. Shake Milton looked like a promising guard. Joel Embiid, obviously. Ben Simmons. Josh Richardson even. It's like you got all these guys that put up nice stats, but together it's still an awkward fit. And we kind of really saw that this season. Next up, we got the Phoenix Suns with a B+. I mean, yeah. I don't think they would have been a B+ if it was not for that bubble run they had. And that might even put them the A- range, just showing like, hey, this team's ready to go next season, guys. Hopefully, DeAndre Ayton doesn't do anything stupid with the performance and handling drugs and stuff like that. Cam Johnson, obviously, Ricky Rubio was nice this season at point guard. Hopefully, they are able to improve in different aspects of their team, though, via NBA draft and also free agency. I still think that power forward position, they need to do something about that. But, yeah, man, they're looking good. They're looking like, hey, maybe the time is next season to at least, make the playoffs. Next up, we got the Portland Trail Blazers. C+. I'm going to say more of a B, and that's just because they did end up, fighting their way all odds against them to the playoffs, and a big part of that was getting Nurkic back, and also, Collins for the limited time that he was able to play. But we all know what this team is. Like, it's Damian Lillard's team, CJ McCollum, great scorer, Melo. We know what they need to do going into the offseason, and that is, improve the wing positions out there, the perimeter defense. You'll be good to go. It's definitely one of the most toughest 8 seeds that I've ever, personally witnessed in my... Damn, bro, nearly 20 years of watching basketball at this point. Okay, next up, we got the Sacramento Kings. D. See, to me, the Sacramento Kings are close to like a D-. I feel like they pissed off Buddy Hield. Bad choice. I just feel like the roster just very disoriented. Dysfunctional, I think is a better word. De'Aaron Fox looks fantastic. But outside of him, Marvin Bagley, injury prone. I think, they just fired their GM. Forgot who it was. It wasn't Divac, was it? No, I think he stepped down, right? Regardless, that's a good step in the right direction. At least you get some new management out there. But yeah, as far as this season goes, it was very dysfunctional, man. I thought they really could have fought for the playoffs. Next up, we got San Antonio Spurs with a C-. From a Spurs standpoint, it's probably an F. From a fan expectation, you're probably like, damn, bro, we didn't make the playoffs. This sucks. But yes, I would say it's a little higher on the list just because, as much as Greg Popovich and his roster's kind of built around an old school style of basketball, you are kind of seeing maybe a little shift towards more of a modern day style. Some of the pieces out there, DeJounte Murray, Derek White, they all look really good. They look very promising. I just think it's time to let go of some of the older players, DeMar, LaMarcus, and, kind of go towards a new style of basketball. Next up, we got the Toronto Raptors. I'm going to say A+. I mean, everybody thought this team was going to fall off, man, because they thought it was Kawhi Leonard's team. It clearly was not that. It's so much more than that. And, yeah, they were the second seed in the Eastern Conference. I mean, that's an A+, man. The fact that you lose a player like Kawhi Leonard, you still managed to do that, that's hell of impressive. Next up, we got the Utah Jazz with a B-. I do agree with that. I don't think Mike Conley was I don't think people got as much out of him as they thought they were going to. Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, obviously 2 of the best young players in the NBA still. Mitchell just had that crazy-ass first game against the... damn, bro, I just watched it. Why can't I not remember who they were playing against? But you all know what I mean, man. Regardless, it's yeah. We'll see what happens in the future. I mean, they obviously got one of the best building blocks out there, so we'll see what happens, man. I think at this point, though, Rudy Gobert, he's just overpaid, though. I would not mind to see them downgrading a little bit at the center position to maybe an Andre Drummond or a Clint Capella just to save some salary cap and improve some other aspects of the team. I do think that would actually be a pretty nice move. Last but not least, but kind of, we got the Washington Wizards with a D. Well, they had one D, guys. Avery Brad D. Lee. That was a bad joke. Bad joke to end the video right there. That's the only thing that kept this team afloat. If not, they probably could have had the worst record of NBA history, man. But Bradley Beal kept him alive. At least you got that going for you. Rui Hachimura is nice. You got some other nice pieces on there that could be something. You got John Wall at least coming back this offseason. But yeah, guys, that is the end of the video. Let me know what you all think. Do you agree with these grades? Do you disagree? Thank you all so much for watching, and peace out, my friends.